Hey guys, we're so excited to be back for another Spotlight with Dominique Swanquist, a day in the life of an online business manager. Dom, I am so excited to have you here. We have been rescheduling, and Dominique was in our OBM school program inside of Accreditation about 6 months ago. Did you graduate?
I got my accreditation in May of 2022.
Yeah, so 6 months ago.
Yes.
And so I'm really excited to have you on. I would love for you to, because again, we were joking because people always tell me I talk too much. So you're lucky to know that I've got no voice today. Dom is going to introduce herself and tell all of us about how she got started from corporate to VA to OBM. Where in the world are you again?
I am just outside of Detroit.
Right.
So.
I grew up in Toronto, right? We've had this conversation.
Awesome. So yes, I am Dom from the Nanette Company, and I became an OBM after meeting Sarah through Michaela Quinn and her course, who I took when I became a VA. So to kind of backtrack a little bit, I've been in corporate for my entire career, and like so many other people, COVID hit and I couldn't work in the office anymore. My kids were in virtual schooling, and it first hit in 2019. I did work, and then I needed to stay home come September 2019 to be home with my kids so that they could attend school. And it just kept getting extended, and they were virtual school at home until May of that year. So almost the entire school year. I know they were at home doing virtual schooling, and I worked at a doctor's office as a front end manager for overseeing the receptionist, and the doctor's office was like, yeah, no, you can't work from home anymore, so call us when your kids go back to school. They said that in January of 2020. So I had to figure out something to bring in income. We were a dual income household, and we wanted to continue living like a dual income household.
Food on the table, going out.
Right?
When we can.
So I was taking Michaela's course. I'd already started to bring in like secondary income, and now it needed to become my primary income because I was at home. I just put it out there on Facebook, and I applied to a couple of VA jobs, and I fell in with a wonderful woman who was a ghostwriter as her virtual assistant. I worked as a VA, and like I said, I met Sarah through Michaela's. She did a guest spot, and I met her through Michaela, and I was like, I like this OBM thing. That's more up my
managerial.
Yes, I was a manager. I was a sales manager. I was an office manager.
I did the same thing. Why do we're here? Oh, so I got to take 5 steps back because now I'm going into the virtual world.
Exactly. And that's what I thought, right? So since I was so new in the world. So I transitioned to the OBM because I like digging deeper into my clients' businesses and helping them more with what could help them grow. You know, my ghostwriter client was the first one that I really transitioned to an OBM. I started as her VA and then transitioned to the OBM. And I'm like, listen, we're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and we're going to do this.
Like, if we're going to go from VA to OBM, I'm taking out the whip.
Exactly. And it excited me and it lit me up. And so I started slowly transitioning. I've lost some clients because what they really wanted was a VA, which is fine because I've met some amazing new people in the meantime, and my business has continued to grow. I started out with just little old me in January 2020, and now I've got a couple of VAs underneath me that help, and we're cracking.
It's like music to my ears. So I picked up on something you said. You mentioned, I can't remember exactly how you said it, but it was like, I needed to get down into my client's business and actually know. Tell me what that feeling is like for those VAs listening to this interview here today, because I felt like that too, but I want to hear it from you. What does that really feel like?
Yeah. So, I had a big background in office experience. So, in working with my clients, the trust grew very quickly. So they were like, okay, I'm going to let you into this, and I'm going to let you into this. And I started having ideas that, they weren't doing.
Strategic ideas.
Yes. I started having ideas, and I was like, man, I really think that they could do these things, but it's more than what a VA does. A lot of people just want VA to do the ticky-tacky things that, are the regular everyday things that they don't want to do. But I started, just kind of throwing these ideas out And my client was like, oh, I didn't think about that. Yes. And oh, I didn't think about that. Can you put that together
Dom,
for
you're
me?
such a great sounding board.
It's almost, I feel almost as if, if you're a VA and you have experience in doing some of the higher level, OBMs are almost like coaches as well, right? Like I feel so much sometimes.
Yeah, don't tell anyone. But yeah, we have to. We got to lead the client, right? I like to think of that as like coaching / leadership, because you really do need to, sometimes it's uncomfortable for us, but yeah, we do need to say it straight sometimes.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're a VA where you find yourself doing the daily tasks and you feel like you have more to offer, OBM is probably the direction you want to go.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And it's incredible because you had so much managerial experience. You were managing a doctor's office, all the nurses, all the things happening in there. So what are some of the things, some of your skills that you found that transferred nicely, obviously the obvious one being the managerial one, but what were some of the things that maybe surprised you about transitioning, or maybe were like, oh, wow, it's like, why didn't I notice this? Because you were a VA for about 6 months, a year. So what did that look like for you?
So a lot of what transferred for me, which I wasn't expecting, I guess, was the team building. One of the things that I've always been like the go-to person for is training others and giving bad news. So the, kind of managing of other people was something that I wasn't anticipating, but I do kind of like, because I like to talk to people. While I don't like being like up on a stage with people staring at me, I like this kind of conversation.
Getting dressed or putting pants and shoes on, right?
Yes. That was something that was unexpected for me, was, the managing of the people that translated. And then the other was just, and actually more than what I was doing at the doctor's office, was the processes. When COVID hit at the doctor's office, I set up the process and procedure for how they were going to handle the incoming patients with how that was going to work. Set up the entire thing, trained all my girls. Yeah. And so when I got back into that, I was like, oh, I'm doing this again, and now I get to do it more.
And are you still working with the doctor?
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. No.
Any doctors at all doing that?
No, I don't have any. Most of my clients, they're big creatives, coaches and creatives, and a lot of writers, actually. I work with a lot of
referrals from your ghostwriting coach that you love?
My ghostwriting and a book coach, so someone that like teaches people how to get their book out into the world, is kind of kind of where that came from. All of my clients have been referrals, honestly.
Wow.
Like every single client I have has been a referral. That's how I've grown my business. So I'm just now delving into how to market myself.
Well, it's a good thing you're on the directory now.
Exactly. Their main gig isn't necessarily writing books, but they have written books due to, what their other business is. Nice. So they've met me through the book world, but then I transfer over to, their coaching or their, one's a podcaster. And so just different. Like
multifaceted entrepreneurs with different things happening in their businesses. That's exactly what we want for clients because it's interesting.
Yes, very interesting. It keeps the day not boring.
So speaking about having a day that's not boring, why don't you tell us intimately, pull back the curtain, don't hold out on us. Tell us what your day looks like. Because again, I will scream it from the rooftops. No two OBMs are the same. So Dom, we'd love to hear what a day in the life of you looks like.
So I have 2 kids. And so I'm the primary, get them to school, pick them up from school, all their events. My husband's great and will fill in, but I'm the primary that does all of that. So, I get up, I get them ready for the day. I have to get them to school, make their lunches, all of that jazz. So I don't really start working until around 9 because I have the morning to do between the kids and the dogs.
I don't start until 10 because I'm like, I just can't.
Yeah. I might start going to the gym at 9. So I might.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm up at 7. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm also the primary that gets the kids ready. So
I really try to keep my working hours between 9 and 3 when I have to leave to go get the kids. Because when I started my business, I would pick them up, come home and work, and I was getting drained. I was getting drained out. So over the past 6 months, I've really been instrumental in the 9 to 3 are my working hours. And I mean, I will occasionally do a little after, but in general, I try to do the majority between 9 and 3. You know, with some clients, I have to check their email first thing in the morning to see if there's anything that has come through. You know, they have high level clients on their end that have minimal times to where their clients can get answers or schedules or, you know, whatnot. So generally checking the email of my clients is like the first thing I do. And I bounce from client to client. I've got 4 clients right now.
Oh yeah, 4 on your roster. And how many
on my roster?
How many retainer hours is that in total?
So right now, my retainer hours have gone down a little bit moving into this holiday season because I have parted ways with a couple of my clients because their businesses have slowed down. But I've got 3 on the docket to, so
fresh blood, which is
exactly.
important.
So generally I'm at like 30 hours a week retainer clients.
That's more than enough. I mean, you also have your own business development and sales calls, and
you know, I start with the quick email things that I can knock out quickly in the day, and then I have one client that generally has longer lists that take me about an hour to complete every day. So I try to get that one out of the way the next day because I feel good. It's like check mark, that part's done. And yes,
like,
yes,
check.
Exactly. And then I try to incorporate networking with other business owners. I try to do a half hour networking at that point, whether it be jumping on a group thing or I'm an introvert by nature. You wouldn't know it in this.
I know. We know.
But you know, these Zoom things have really helped me in terms of getting out there. If we were in person face to face, I would be a hot mess right now.
I know, me too.
And then I, you know, try to do a little bit of my business. You know, I don't have a bookkeeper yet, so I still pay all my own bills and do all my own invoicing and contracting. And that's next for 2023 is to hire that.
I love it. I will say it's easier than you think it is.
I know, the control. I
get it off. I will say here quickly that when I had a landscaping company 10, 15 years ago, I used to do all my bookkeeping. And so when I moved into the OBM thing, it was like a crutch.
Yes.
I don't know why. I couldn't let it go. I love the control. I love, you know, checking things twice, and it's not a good use of your time.
No, I know it's not. I did landscaping too. Fun fact, we have a lot more in common than I thought.
Okay. Another day, landscapers turned OBM.
But I feel like part of that is what makes us good OBMs because I've got a forecast for my entire year and I know what's coming in each month and what's going out each month. And so I know what sales need to be made in order to hit my business goals, which can translate to help my clients with what their goals are for the year or the quarter coming up. So, you know, having those processes in my own business. I do like that I'm type A in that area because it translates well for my clients.
Oh yeah, that's so important because, you know, without money, there's no business.
And then,
after networking, after you've schmoozed it up a little bit, then what's up next?
And then I go get my kids and it's, you know, do chores, and I generally will check email one more time because I have one client that does like it checked at the end of the day as well, just to ensure. But she's a high-end coach, so she doesn't have a lot of clients. Her client roster is very small, so it's not as
like high touch. You're checking in, moving projects along, you know, intermingling with the team and making sure that all the things are happening.
Exactly. I get a little creative in my day depending on the client. Sometimes they're like, put together this newsletter workflow for me, or, you know, which kind of breaks up a little bit, which is fun to do. I'm not a super creative person, but I like to do it once in a while. So having that thrown in there, you know, every few weeks is a fun little thing to do.
I love that. So you've shared a little bit about what your day looks like, which I love, and all of the fun things that you get to do with your clients. What advice would you give to somebody listening here today that is maybe listening from their corporate job, or maybe they're in their VA shoes still? What's something like that you would want to share with them?
Honestly, just go for it. I mean, if you're considering, you know, taking the step to move into the virtual space or to up-level your services that you're offering to people, just do it. I spent years, I will tell you, years thinking that I wanted to be in the virtual space. I wanted to be my own boss because I knew I could do so much more than my corporate world was allowing me to do. And I didn't believe in myself for a really, really long time. And then once I got in it, I was like, oh my God, why didn't I do this sooner?
What was the thing that really put you, I mean, I guess it was kind of not having a choice, right?
Yes. I mean, it was COVID.
Unfortunately, that's what I hear a lot, you know, just with the way the world is going. I've spoken to so many women lately who have been like, I got laid off. And then that's why I became an OBM. And you know, I had all these amazing transferable skills. I was already doing project and team management and, you know, and I just knew I could transfer some of those things over. I mean, on one hand, I'm grateful for that because I think this is so much better and you have the flexibility and you can sort of, you know, decide what your day looks like to an extent. You know, I think it's just unfortunate that we have to be backed into a corner before that happens. Like I remember when I was making my transition, I legit went on maternity leave. You can imagine I had already been side hustling for 3 years as a VA, finally was, you know, calling myself an OBM. I had one OBM client. I went on my maternity leave and I was like afraid to tell my boss I wasn't coming back for like 3 months. You know, and I had this business happening on the side and I still had no faith in myself and my abilities, which is in retrospect, it makes me a little bit sad because I see so many people that are, you know, not dragging their feet because if it was.
It is though, dragging your feet because I mean, it was years that I was like, I can do this. And then it didn't work. And I tried all the multi-level marketing, selling jewelry.
Don't do MLM guys and don't come after me. Yeah. You know,
and you know, once I did it, my business, I've done it on my own. I just hired my first couple of VAs.
Okay, so let's talk about this because I think when we first started speaking together and you joined us inside of Accreditation and inside of OBM school, you were like, I'm scaling my agency. And here you are.
Yes.
An agency. So just for our listeners here, when Dom and I were talking just at the beginning, we were talking about your VAs and we were having an open, honest conversation about how, you know, there is a percentage of an OBM retainer that is VA work naturally, because newsflash, clients don't know necessarily the dividing line between what's OBM and what's VA. They don't know and they don't care. They want the work done. So it becomes really important as we're growing to hire virtual assistants. And I like any business needs a VA.
100%. And you know, my VA, one of them I knew personally, one of them I found through the previous coaching group that I did. And she went through the same one as I did. So I knew she had the training that I had, which was helpful, you know. You know, my business started with just me for the first 18 months. My first year sales were more than I have ever made in any corporate job.
As a VA, right?
As a VA.
As a VA, guys. So now as an OBM.
Yeah, I'm ending year 2 and my sales are double, which I never would have imagined.
So more than double what you made in corporate.
More than double what I made in corporate.
And you have flexibility. You're giving your kids the stay-at-home experience. That we all know doesn't exist these days.
Seriously, my son was sick last week and I had no issues with keeping him home. You know, it was like, he's going to sleep anyways. I can still get my work done.
Right.
So,
and you can also pop in for some snuggles here and there.
Exactly. It was great. And, you know, having my VA who, she still works full-time in corporate, but is looking to transition out. And I just keep feeding her stuff because clients are looking for it, you know? And we work together and it's fantastic. And my clients like that I can offer those smaller tasks that they can get done for them. But then I can delve into that, you know, the planning and the processes that they really need. Because a lot of OBM clients, it's like they have the ideas and they just don't know how to implement them. Their brain doesn't work that way. And my brain does.
And we have to give ourselves credit where credit is due, because there are people that are not like us. And I think for a lot of those listening here today, you might be thinking to yourself, well, are my skills really that valuable? Or is this really going to make a difference in someone's business? And maybe there's skills that you don't even realize you have yet or that they're valuable. But I never really build my clients for being the sounding board, having the conversations around strategy and brainstorming, because I loved it so much. And I was like, but this comes so naturally to me. And you know, it seems like why should I charge? I enjoy it, you know, and actually over time, naturally, I learned that, wait a second, you actually need to charge top dollar for the things that are in your zone of genius. And strategy and leadership and coaching, like you had mentioned at the beginning, were all things that I love doing. So I love that you speak to that, because I think women especially, often sort of back burner the things that we're good at because we need to like struggle and suffer. So let's go into like digital marketing, or let's go into launch management. Let's like do the hardest, most far away, difficult thing. Let's bring it to the forefront, you know?
Yeah, prove we can do it while we hate
what
every
you
minute
have.
of it.
Look what you have and add. You're always going to be adding. We're like students for life in this world.
Oh, yes. I'm already thinking, all right, what can I get certified in next so that I can offer more? You know, I have that in my mind all the time. But I had a client the other day who, she's a funny client because she's my client, but she's also like in a women's group of like bouncing ideas off each other with me. And she's like, you need to charge me more because you're worth more and you do more for me than you realize. And I was like, okay.
I record that and put that. That's a testimonial.
Yeah.
That's a case study interview, just like we're doing right now.
I should put that. I should be like, can I put that on my website, please?
Yes, you should. Or tell me how you can't live without me again.
Exactly. Tell me all the good things about myself. But, you know, it's great and I love it. So, I mean, thank you for the accreditation course because it truly, you know, I think that was one of the things that helped me was taking the courses to like prove to myself that yes, you can do this. You do know how to
all in there. It's like, it's just a framework. It's like just a little framework around your body. And that's how you can operate and offer, you know, the strategic sessions that we have in the program and some of the things that, you know, can take, like, that's what I tell people. I'm like, look, if you want to be an OBM, you can take 2 or 3 years and can you figure it out? Of course you can do anything. Or do you want to, you know, put this on the fast track for success and join us inside of OBM school.
And have these people that support you, you know, that are in the
it's accountability. Because you know what? I love being alone. I love being at home. I love when my kids go, you know, off to daycare and school. And I'm like, but when you're in that zone day after day and you don't have any kind of outside, even if it's virtual, you know, accountability and maybe even friendship with people in the online space, then it does become difficult to, or do you meet your goals slower? Like, will you meet your goals? Of course. You know, as long as you're dedicated, you will. But I think having the accountability inside and the mentorship and all of that good stuff, it's just amazing. I love what I do. I feel really grateful for being able to meet incredible human beings, first off, but also to be like, no, you know, I can share what I've learned, you know, over my decade of OBMing and help someone else scale their agency like you, which is incredible.
And, you know, being in this realm over the last, you know, 12 to 18 months, my confidence has returned. My husband commented on it. You know, my confidence has returned because for a while I didn't, you know, have it. I was a mom. That's what my main goal was, which we all go through that when our kids are
there's
little.
like a good 5 years where you're like, oh,
exactly.
I can still have fun. Go with my friends and have fun. Yeah.
Yes, my kids are 8 and 10. My son's actually 8 today. It's his birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
When I pick him up, I'll tell him.
So cute.
And my confidence has grown. Like, you know, even just in networking groups, it's like, I'm not afraid to like I know the answer to this. I'm going to tell you the answer to this question or, you know, respond.
And that I know the answer to this.
And I'm getting out, like you said, I'm getting out more with friends. I found a new friend group in my area that I moved to 5 years ago, and it's taken me 5 years to get this group of people.
But they're not a group of like friends, and it's not a group of like moms of your kids' friends, right?
Oh, it is.
Okay.
But they get me out of the house.
Those are all of our friends. Like all of my good friends are like, oh, right, our kids are the same age.
But we go out without the kids. So we do,
of course, yes,
make that happen.
We still want to have fun.
The experience of like taking the plunge and, you know, doing the VA and then transferring to the OBM has just given me confidence in myself that's just bled into all aspects of my life.
I love that. And that is why we always say that it is a personal growth journey being an entrepreneur. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. It has big rewards, big risks as well, you know, because it is hard work, right? I mean, it's definitely harder than doing the 9 to 5, but I mean, with great risk comes great reward. And the reward that you have is like balanced family life, confidence, you know, your own things that you know, that's the thing for me. It's like, I love OBMing because it makes me feel confident about my ability to like help people and learn more about digital marketing and learn more about online business. Like, I think it's just such a great growing industry. Like even over the pandemic, like so much has changed in this world. And it's so interesting because you really got into this during the pandemic, which is so crazy to me. Cause I'm always like pre and post, and it's like you started right in the middle of this. So people can say that, oh, things were so much better before, but I actually think, and I think you're proof of this, that more businesses are online now. More people need OBMs now than ever. Yes. And the demand is there. You just have to have the right skills, the right confidence, and confidence comes through doing. That's what we always talk about. And then really positioning yourself for success. You've got this incredible website app. You've got an incredible referral thing happening. You're going to start scaling your agency in this coming year.
Yes.
All really exciting things.
Very exciting. It's very exciting. And, not for the faint of heart, like you said, being an entrepreneur, because there are days and times where you're like, oh my God.
You're like, do I really need to get out of bed today?
Yes, exactly. Showing up 100% or even 95%.
You feel like that when you're in corporate too, but you have to get out of bed.
You have to do it here.
You can't work from your bed like we do all the time.
I don't. I get dressed every day and I go to my office.
I only get dressed when I do day in the life interviews with my students.
No, for me, that's one thing that was like super important to me is we had an extra room that was a playroom that my kids never used because they wanted to be with us.
That's so cute.
So we turned it into my office and I get dressed every day and this is my office and I shut the door at the end of the day when I walk out. And at first that was really hard for me. Yeah. I had a hard time not responding to people when they text me or Voxered me or, at all hours. And I'm really getting to the point now where if it's 5:30 and they text me up, okay, I'll do this tomorrow. This is family time and I'm still learning to do that. So I will say it's a constant.
It's a muscle, right? That you just have to always keep well tuned.
Yeah, but you can do it.
You can do it. I think it's about having your priorities in check, right? And being held accountable. And I think also, it sounds to me that these 3 or 4 really awesome retainer clients, you've trained them so well that they speak it back to you too. Like they have their boundaries, you have your boundaries, it works for everybody. And that's a really beautiful thing.
It is.
You're really sharing all this wonderful, incredible stuff. You are such a badass OBM. And it's been so much fun. Working with you and hanging out with you in the virtual space. For those looking to hire, if you're looking for an OBM, Dom, how can they get in touch with you?
So my website is theninettecompany.com. I will have to spell it.
I will leave it in the show notes as well.
But it's and then Ninette is Niette, company.com. I'm also on the OBM directory where you can find me there. And I would love to chat. I love helping people scale their business.
Guys, get in touch with Dom. If you are looking for an OBM, you will be so glad that you did. Thank you, Dom. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and have a great day, guys. And thank you to you guys for listening. And if you have any questions, you can post them in the comments below or reach out to Dom or I. And thank you. Hope you enjoyed it.
Have a great day.